And
nice job, Lance.
I'm Noah.
way to go, Noah.
Nice job.
Nice job.
What'd I do? Oh, are you doing an interview?
Hire the handicap. They're fun to watch. First off, congratulations to the newlyweds. The nephew and his bride got married, and everything went great. It was a fantastic day. I don't think you could have asked for a better event. The wedding itself went off without a hiccup. They gave me the honor of doing the officiating, and that went really good. I was pretty darn scared of it all. The weddings is a big deal to me. It's an important thing. It's not just something that you're just like, hey, we're gonna be married. But no, it went really great. So congratulations to the kids there. Hopefully pretty soon we'll have another one here in the next couple years. The second shout out would be to Donna. Thank you very much for the salted caramel chocolate shake recommendation. Donna's that's Karen's thumbs up, Donna. My wife asked, like, what's that salted caramel? Could I get a taste of that? Because I was gonna have it with some chocolate. And she's like, no, you're just gonna buy the malt and you're gonna enjoy it. And like, oh, okay. And so the wife, she took the first bite and she's like, oh my Lanta, that is good. And so she gave a couple of just strangers walking by. She's like, you gotta try this. And so thank you to Donna. Donna and her family, her husband Jim, they farm just south of us. Similar age, century plus another 30-year farm. And so she works hard off the farm as well, and she was working at the dairy stand at the local fair, and so the wife absolutely loved that salted caramel milkshake, and so thank you very much. Is that all right? All right, guys, so I went down to the Winona Soil Health Field Day, and Lance Klessing put it on. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description. Otherwise, check him out. Do a search on YouTube for him. Super smart guy on this soil health stuff. Heck of a good show. They were only expecting, I think, 100 people, and they had over 220 registered, and I think about that showed up. You'll see it was a great day, great crowd, some good equipment there. I'll fly the drone up and kind of tried to get a lay of the land so you could see very, very gorgeous terrain down in that Mississippi River Valley area. Fantastic show. I wasn't going to take my cameras and do much, and then after about 10 minutes in, the crowd started cheering, Maple Grove Farm, we love you, yay, yay, you know, the presidential treatment that you get, you know, like normal when you go to an event. And so I said, what the heck, let's pull the camera out. And so just off the cuff, Lance was walking by, and so it's just like, let's just do a 2-minute interview, chit chat on camera, have nothing pre-planned, nothing. We just off the cuff have a quick interview, and then same with the farmers, just a quick, hey, you know, how'd you get started, kind of typical interview that you do as farmers, and go from there. It was a fantastic day, lots of great information. One thing for sure is next year I am tired of all the chemicals in my soybeans to only have to spray more chemicals. And he had a field down there, you'll see it, of winter rye into beans, and that looks way more clean than my field doing all the recommended chemicals. And I still have more to do to clean it up, but I'm debating to do it or not. But so it gave me hope that next year I could do the winter rye for my beans and go from there. So here's some footage from that event.
I love the lay of the land down there, so I threw the drone up in the air just to try and get some perspective. You're right on the edge of the farm. You can see how it falls off. You got another valley there. That was kind of a pretty drive up. The highway wound around in there. But yeah, just gorgeous country. So.
Okay. All right, guys. Hey, down here in beautiful Winona, Minnesota, the famous Lance Klessing and the guru of cover crops and soil health for this territory.
Sure.
And sure, Got a heck of a show going on here. It's an on-farm soil health event. Burr Oaks Farm, and is it Unruh?
Yep, Mike and Dave Unruh. Yep.
Unruh cover crop programs. They're hosting the event.
Yep. This is their rig, one of the rigs. Yep.
Okay, and so I'll just spin the camera quick.
Sure.
We got vertical till, we got drills, we got cover crop rollers. Lauren Steinlage brought his Dawn units, and then some planter talk, and then their nice Kuhn Krause 3-point spreader. That kind of makes the one I have look a little ridiculous, but that's a precision spreader.
Yeah, brand new.
Someday I need to have something like that.
Sure.
So what are we going to be covering today?
Yeah. So quite a bit.
Okay.
So we have Joe Lawler, a good friend of ours, brought his modified corn detasseler over here that is now a high boy. So he's going to actually drive through the standing corn with it and drop seed down.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
like a 1980s rig.
For interseeding covers into corn.
Yep. Or standing beans.
Okay.
And then right across the road, Rantizo is going to fly some seed on. That's a drone company. Fly some seed on standing beans.
Really?
So
That's
we just
cool.
did a video out there. So that'll be online eventually.
Yeah.
And then right across the street, Mike and Dave did some roller crimping on some beans that they had planted in the boot stage rye this spring. And then, 2 weeks later, so came back with actually that Mandaco and roller crimped it.
Okay.
So we've got basically 3 different
Neat.
sites for people to look at, and then
Neat.
all the equipment, and then we have a dairy farmer from Wisconsin that's going to talk to us about alternative forages and how he's been using cocktail mixes for like 4 or 5 years on his 400 cow dairy.
Cool. Fantastic show, it sounds.
Yeah, should have a good crowd.
Yeah.
We're like 250 people RSVP'd. So
Yeah. So you're with the Winona County?
Yeah, so I work for Soil and Water Conservation District with
Okay.
Winona County, do some things on the side as well.
Okay.
But definitely am passionate about soil health. That's
Yes.
why I have the
Yes,
YouTube
you are.
channel.
Yes, you are.
Get to go on tour with some of the other folks that are passionate about regen farming.
Yeah.
Have our own farm down here in southeast Minnesota. So
Okay.
yeah. So,
Okay. What are the few of the challenges of if I would imagine there's going to be people here.
Yeah.
So for this territory, if they want to get going, because with the climate, the industry changing,
Yeah.
purchasers of our commodities are going to be starting to push this.
Yep.
If a guy's going to get going into this, what in your region, what are your challenges of working with these guys?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of common challenges that we hear about, whether we're in southern Illinois, southern Minnesota, even up by you, that it's too wet, it's too cold, all that sort of
Funny
thing.
how the guy in southern Illinois is too far north for it to work here.
Yeah, the truth is that you and I both know that it works pretty much almost anywhere, right?
Just adapt it to your farm.
Right, maybe not
Okay.
the Arctic Circle, right?
Yep,
But, So I think that's a challenge, but I think, we can start networking with people that are like-minded, that are willing to think outside the box.
Yeah. Yep.
We have these tools at our disposal, whether it's a roller crimper, whether it's high boys, drones, there are a
Yep.
lot of opportunities and tools that allow us to.
And Minnesota Soil Health Coalition is around the corner, and they run the mentorship program
Right.
too, to help connect
people.
producers to somebody that might be able to help them in their territory.
Yeah, Mark Gutierrez is here. He's great at connecting farmers to farmers, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if I answered your question directly, but I think there are going to be hurdles.
Yep.
There's also what I call excuses or
Correct.
reasons, but if we want to make it happen, we can make it happen.
Want to. That's the big thing.
That's the key word.
Keyword.
Yeah. And so there's going to be a lot of people here that maybe aren't sold on it, or maybe they tried it once or twice and it didn't go well, or whatever. But I think if we keep trying it, we keep asking questions, coming to events like this, we're going to get it mastered. Sooner than later.
Because in my area, I look at the environment, the climate I live in, and the soils I have.
Right.
When I come down here, I am just blown away. It's just the beauty of the countryside down here is just gorgeous.
It is
just
beautiful.
Gorgeous. I look at the slopes you have and think, dear gosh, how can you no-till that without just that completely cutting the side of the hill,
Right.
or them kind of challenge? How do you get a round baler to the top of the hill without it tipping over sideways? If you go the other way, the bale's going to be
Go
down.
Very strategic with round balers. Yeah, it's front-wheel drive assist tractors. There's some challenges, but I think when you combine, no-till planting with covers. I mean, don't just do one or the other. Try to do both together. That's the soil health principles.
It's a toolbox.
Yep. Yeah, we can definitely have good luck on 15-20% ground. You know?
Nice.
I mean, that's probably steep for you, but
that's we got it for a few feet.
Yeah, right.
Just that one little knob. Yep. Otherwise, we're compared to you guys, we would look like the Red River Valley.
Oh, sure, yeah, right.
But no, and so I'll let you get to the show.
Yeah,
we'll do another footage later on to add to this and have some fun. But you get to your show.
Yeah,
and,
sounds good. We'll go from there. You bet.
Yep.
Thanks, John.
A little bit smaller roller crimper. Be a nice 3-point unit for behind like the 4640, 4430 maybe. And then you got that big beast. That drum would come up to about my hip here. That's a heck of a unit. You like your framing there?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, so we got Mike and Dave of Burr Oaks Farms. They're the owners of it. And so kind of how'd you get started in with it? How'd that go into the soil health, cover cropping?
Well, years back, just kind of noticed with some of the rains we were getting a lot of washing, and I didn't like it. I figured I was losing generations of soil if you know, with gully washing, and got to thinking, what am I going to do to keep it here for my kids? And so we started cover cropping, and then one year, I can't remember, we had a prevent plant.
2013.
So we had a prevent plant situation that year, and we cover cropped. And in 14, that was the best corn we grew in years.
Really?
We used a multi-species mix of radishes and summer hemp and sorghum and hemp. And, and then we went, and my father-in-law his family has had this farm before us. And he was here yet, and he says, "Well, we're gonna have to plow that. There's no way you guys are
You gotta
plow it."
It'll be too cold and wet in the spring.
I said, "No, we're gonna plant right into that. It ain't gonna work." Well, it worked.
It worked well.
And so we convinced, got him on board, and everybody kind of got on board, and I was kind of happy doing what I was doing, and Mike got done with school, and he just kind of jumped on and took it to the next level. So.
And since you're the young guy, you were probably naturally like, Dad, we need to do this cover cropping and stuff. It's the wave of the future.
Definitely not. So when we first started, he planted green in the winter rye, and I said, that's dumb. Like, that's just not going to work, or why would you do that?
Yeah.
And he planted it, and it was really good corn that year. So then kind of shut up a little bit next year and tried again. And every year from then on, we just kind of did a little bit here and there. And then in the last 3 years, we just really scaled it up to try to do as many acres as we can.
Nice.
Because we've been seeing the benefits. So.
Yep. Yeah. And challenges of getting going. You got a lot of slopes, and like we were talking with Lance, them slopes have to have some sort of battle for you.
Right. Yeah, it's with everything, I mean, we started out more vertical till, going away from the chisel plow, went to the vertical till, and now we've kind of evolved out of the vertical till, and we're going more in the no-till.
Okay.
We'll use the vertical till a lot to seed.
We pretty much converted the vertical till just to a seeder.
Just to a seeder.
Okay.
Or if we have issues getting through, then we will, but it's pretty rare. I mean, our goal first is to no-till.
Okay.
Is to keep everything, try to keep covered, and now it's going to be probably moving onward to try to get things established in standing corn before we harvest, because our harvest windows, we're going for grain, so we're hanging out there as late as we can in the fall. And
no cattle?
No, I've got a few stock cows, but no major cattle anymore. We used to milk, and at that time, we were doing a lot of corn silage, so then you had a lot of bare ground. You had the corn off September.
Yep.
And that's when we started with some of the rye and stuff. Watching the neighbors getting, because you got that laying out there, and then you get those nice October rains on that bare ground with nothing there. And
so corn bean rotation?
We're in a corn bean rotation. We do a little bit of some hay yet, but not a lot. We've got some of our steepest ground in the CRP, run with the CRP programs.
Yep.
Got to run on some of the marginal grounds.
Okay. insect disease, weed pressures are all coming along fine. You're able to control that.
Yeah.
So far we're okay.
Okay.
I mean, we have seen issues on occasion with cutworms in the spring or army worms. We've seen some of the, you gotta do a little more scouting and a little more
managing.
You gotta more manage it,
Yep.
watch it a little closer.
Yep.
But,
That's a big thing with the rye. We learned one of our early on mistakes was letting the rye go too long, and we saw the nitrogen tie up in the corn, which we didn't know about 10 years ago.
Yep.
But now we've learned to kill it by knee high or so, and we don't see an issue and get the benefit of the rye. So that's where we kill it at.
Nice. Nice.
like the plant, we made the mistake of killing it before we planted.
Yeah, if it got
Tried
too
that.
tall.
And
We just like planting
planted green.
Let the
Kill
corn
it
come
after you
up
run the
and
corn
then
planter through it.
Okay.
It works. The corn planter goes through a lot better when it's green.
Yep.
When it's
Less mud up on the planter.
less mud, less trash. The trash flows through. But the roots are actually holding in the ground to get you through it versus balling it up.
Yep.
So
And then you got the Yetter twisters on the back to help close that slot.
yeah, well, they're copperhead
Those are
furrow.
copperhead.
Oh, they're the copperhead.
Those are
Okay.
furrow
I'm sorry.
pullers, Yep.
Yep. To be a little more aggressive on that closing system.
yeah.
And
Nice
hey,
job, Lance.
I'm Noah.
way to go, Noah.
Yeah, I know.
Nice job.
Nice job.
What I do? Oh, are you doing an interview?
Hire the handicap. They're fun to watch. Jeez, that is.
We'll
staying
start
in
over.
there. No.
He likes improv.
These
too.
guys are busy. We'll let you guys get back to the show. Apparently, other people need to get recording you, and so
Thanks, man.
good job. And
nice
congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
It's pretty solid.
So this is beans planted into winter rye, and then when the beans got up, then they rolled it, hoping that they could crimple the beans a little bit to make the beans want to bush out and create more nodes. But the really cool thing is his only herbicide was one pass of Roundup to clean up any little strips where the rye didn't crimp. But so that's the really cool part is here's where they turned on the headland with the crimper and it kind of killed this spot. The fact that all this field had was one pass of Roundup and this exposed area isn't just a flush of weeds is a pretty good testimony to the power of the winter rye. This is a good looking bean crop. And yeah, that there's a lot to be said right there.
So I was having more audio problems with the camera. So the drone here, what they're saying is that the drone can carry 25 pounds of payload roughly, and you have about a 15-minute flight time. The acres per hour are going to vary greatly depending on your target rate and the wind. But you can see it's going to hover above the crop about 9 to 10 feet. You can see the beans underneath the prop wash, and that's going to help get that seed down to the ground and not harbor up in the plants so much. It's just going to go back and forth, run its little programmed pass. And once the drone senses that it's either out of seed or low on battery, it'll automatically come home. And so the guy was saying that he can run 3 drones at a time and just send them out there. So on an 80 acre that doesn't have a ridiculously high rate of application, he could do 80 acres in a couple hours because it just one goes, all 3 go out, one comes back, change batteries, refill it, send it. The next one's coming back. So he just tends to all 3 of them. And it uses radar to measure the ground. So you can see as it goes to our left, it follows the contour of that field. And it also has radars for object detection. So guy wires, power poles, trees, stuff like that. So it doesn't run into stuff. And so it's a pretty neat concept. At this 20 pounds, I thought he said they could easily do a little better than 10 acres in an hour with one drone. And so it's a pretty neat deal. He's not controlling it. Everything's pre-programmed flight paths. And really a neat system for a lower seeding rate. Very fast, very efficient, no crop damage. Kind of a neat, really neat to see.
And then they got a nice liquid conversion kit as well. 10 minutes to convert from dry to liquid.
This was actually a very cool project the guy did. It's an old corn detasseler, and it's got a Ford 351 V8 there. And what he found was by having the Honda engine run the blower, then he could idle that Ford engine down to propel the machine and not have it screaming away back there just sucking the gas down. And so he's got a Valmar box up there, and it's a 60-foot boom, so the Honda's pushing the air out, and there's a friction wheel down in the bottom right that runs the metering rolls of the Valmar box. And so here they're doing 120 pounds of rye with some radish and other things in there. And you can see he just takes off, and when we walk in the corn, you can see the rye and the seeds on the ground. It's very fast, very efficient, very low overhead. Just a great example of farmer engineering to fill a need. So what I got going on here is we're bringing in the backfill to bring our subgrade up to elevation so we can eventually pour concrete. And so I took the 4430, made a stockpile to my left, and I'm just using the 4020 in the back blade to drag it out and start bringing it up. And to my left up there, I'm going at a weird angle because just off my left side is the sanitary line that's going to be under the floor that's leaving the shop. And you can see the pipe standing up there for your normal bathtub and toilet drains. And this is a concrete, it's crushed concrete, 1 inch minus. And so it's got lots of dust in there as well as the 1 inch rock. And it does it's got a lot of good binder, and it does a fantastic job of setting up. And I'm watering it as I go. And so I keep pulling this pile down, and you know, as you get out there, you're putting such a tiny layer on each time that it packs. You got the tractor driving on every square inch, and the back blade, the cutting edge, and the material that you keep dragging over, it just keeps getting packed tighter and tighter. Later on, I brought in the 4430 with a full bucket to put stuff on to blister over that sanitary line so I could get to the other side. And I mean, the front tires on that 4430 with a full bucket of gravel, and you couldn't leave a mark in there. But you'll see that it's getting hard enough now that I'm really not bringing a whole lot of material with the 4020. So we'll grab the crawler loader, and we're going to get the hard mounds out of there, kind of flatten it up a little bit, and then I go back on with the 4020. So I'm just taking the dozer here, pushing off that high stuff that the blade wasn't doing a good job of being able to grab anymore. And then I'm kind of looking for where the back blade I was ending up with a low spot in, kind of making more of a flat, nice grade out of it. And the little dozer does a pretty all right job, does a good job. But I got an eye level, and so I just took a piece of PVC tubing and transferred a ruler grade onto that tubing, and then walked around and shot everything. And so by the stake to the left corner there, we're going to end up with about 3.5 feet of fill. And so as we're going along, I'll stand that tube back up, and we'll get some eye level footage going too. Basically, my eye level is 6'3". So as I walk around the grade, you just measure the distance below that, and that's how much material you need for that spot. And so yeah, the crawler made fast work of that little job. Got that spread out, knocked her down. But yeah, 3.5 feet in that corner, and then we'll park the dozer and grab the 4020, and I'm going to go backwards because it just kind of smooths it out really nice, but it also, without moving a whole lot of material, but also just works very well at packing. And that's the whole point. We just want to get this thing just absolutely solid. And So I'm going to go backwards for quite a ways, and then at some point I'm going to spin around and go forward and start pulling, because there's going to be end up kind of like where I'm working now. There's going to be a little, kind of a high spot with a lot of material that I can grab and take to the other end, and so it just, I don't mind that on the grade. If you're a little bit high and then shave it down, that also helps pack it, and that's what we're doing here. I like this kind of stuff, and so yeah, we'll spin around and start pulling this excess material. So I'm not going to the end of my run. I'm just kind of going up there a little ways and where the start of the high spot is, and just start pulling that stuff down. You can see it's setting up. There's not a whole lot of material coming with me, but we'll do this, get this spread out, laid out, and then grab the 4430 and start stockpiling on the next lift, and do it all over again.